Hi guys, I'm GarritosDorritos, and today we're going to be talking about how you can stop raging on FIFA. Let's get into it. This is not a video I ever intended to make, it's not a video I ever thought I would make. However, it's becoming a reoccurring theme that people are sort of saying in comments on videos. You're always so composed, you always stay calm, you never lose your temper when you're losing or things aren't going your way. And then we got this comment yesterday, and that's what's really prompted this video. I'll read it to you. It says, "Thank you for your video, it's great. I'm a big fan of FIFA, but I cannot control my mental state when I lose the ball or the game. I think the game is scripted and my players become stupid, so I can't keep a calm mind. Could you make a video on how to maintain composure in FIFA?" So here we are. I think the biggest problem when it comes to playing this game is people's perspective of what they think is going on. So the majority of the points I'm going to make in this video kind of lean towards that, but there'll be a couple in here about how to just sort of like bring yourself back down to earth as well. Now, it's definitely worth noting that if you have actual anger problems, anything that like you're really like struggling with, you need to maybe speak to a professional or speak to family to get proper help with that. That is not what I'm here for. This is purely to help you win more games on FIFA, keep your cool a bit more, that is all. Tip number one, this is one you'll have heard a lot, so I'll put it first to get it out of the way, and that is if you lose a game, take a break. This is a very old but gold sort of pointer, to be honest. The reality is when you've just lost a game, particularly if you've been winning quite a few in a row, you're very wound up, you feel cheated, you feel like you should have won, you're instantly like wanting to get back in the win column, so you jump straight into another game. You lose again. Oh, can't believe this. You then change formation. You lose another. Oh, this formation sucks. You try another format. And then all of a sudden, you've gone from like 8-0 to 8-7. And this game sucks and it's rigged. When you've lost a game, if you feel wound up, take a break. And honestly, more importantly than taking a break, do not come back onto the game until you feel good about playing the game. If you're still coming back on 10 minutes later with that like angst of, oh, I've got to get this back. No, that's not long enough. Step away, do not come back on until you feel good about, yeah, I want to play some FIFA. That's when you should come back on. Now, my next couple of points are ones that I think most people will struggle to accept, but once you do kind of take these pointers on board, they're the ones that are going to really help you the most. So going back to that comment where he mentions he thinks the game is scripted and he thinks his players are stupid, this is the reality of that you need to sort of accept in order to improve and not lose your temper, and that is this. When you're in those games where your players are being stupid, you can't get the basic things going, the reality is that happens when you're playing a good player. When you're playing someone that is of a high skill level, they will make your team feel like they're not responding, they're playing slower, they are just not functioning. That's what it feels like when you're playing someone that is very good at the game. I recently experienced this when I matched E-Prem winner #Stokes online in a game. Now, he's just made the E-World Cup. He's like a top 32 player in the world. He's one of the best British pros in the game. He's one of the best players in the world. And there was nothing about what he was doing that looked impressive, that if I didn't know who he was, would have made me feel like, oh, I'm playing somebody that's very good at the game. I very much, if I did not know who I was playing, would have seen what he was doing and would have just thought, my team isn't responding, why can't I mark that? I'm trying to play a switch and it's not working. That is literally how it felt. It felt like my team wasn't functioning. It didn't feel like he was outplaying me. That is how it feels when you're up against a much better player. It feels like you can't get anything going. It feels like nothing's working. It feels like the game's not responding. That's how it actually feels when you're playing someone very good. It doesn't come across like, oh, they're really good, look at what they're doing. It comes across as, why isn't my team doing what I'm pressing? That's how it is when you play someone better. So in those games where it feels like nothing's working, the game's against you, it's probably because you're up against a very good player. Honestly, once you kind of get into that sort of headspace of whenever something isn't working, you instantly think of it as, it's because this person's very good. You'll be surprised how often you can turn around that feeling of the game isn't working just by locking in more and focusing because you're conscious that the person you're playing is very good. That makes a big difference. Essentially, what you're doing is you're not playing victim to the game being against you. You're just realizing, okay, this guy is good. I need to step it up and play better than them. My next point is very much kind of within the similar realm, and that's where it comes down to scripting, which was sort of mentioned in that comment. Now, scripting, it's whether you believe it or not, is irrelevant. The reality of it is this. Scripting, real or not, is not an excuse. You do not get pro players like Anders Vergan going 500-0 online if scripting was enough of an excuse for you to be losing games. What you need to realise is 99% of the time, skill prevails. If you are the better player and you just keep playing your best, regardless of what silly nonsense goes in your opponent's favour, majority of the time you're still going to come out on top if you keep playing your best and if you are better than them. A lot of the time, if you are someone that is very hot-headed, obviously if you, again, go into that sort of victim mentality of the game's against me or it wants him to win, you're probably playing a lot worse at that point, in which case it's probably very much going to go in their favour. But just realise, if you truly feel and can see that you're better than someone, just keep playing your best, because no matter what goes in their favour, I promise you, 99% of the time, if you are better and you are right about that, skill does prevail. It really does. This is why you will see me in particular in videos. You'll see me sometimes go like 2-3 goals down, and I'm just there smiling and laughing about it, because in those games where I go 2 or 3 down, but I can just see it's because I'm not properly like in gear yet. There's just, I know I'll get it back. I know if I am better than somebody, I know it doesn't matter if I go 2 or 3 down. It doesn't matter if the game just makes my AI do a loose pass and they score off of it. It doesn't matter. If I'm confident enough in knowing that I'm better than the person I'm playing, then I know I'll come out on top. And that's just the reality of it. Take sort of that calm and peace out of knowing that, no, I am better than this person. I'll keep playing my best. It's going to catch up with them eventually. For my next point, speaking about sort of falling behind in games, I find one of the most frustrating things is if you early in the game go behind. Because it's kind of like you're starting on the back foot. It's an uphill battle from the start. That can be very frustrating. You can almost feel a bit defeated before you've even got going. This is the way I think about it. If I go a goal down, I don't think of it as being any different as it being 0-0. Because if it's 0-0, I have to score if I want to win the game. If I'm 1-0 down, I still need to score. It makes no difference. Whether you're 1-0 down or it's 0-0, either way, you're in the same position. You need to score at least 1 goal. So this is a good way to think about it, because when you go a goal behind, it's almost just like nothing changes. And it's a really, really good way to think about the game, is that the objective doesn't change. I need to score. So if you go a goal down, take 1 big deep breath, lock in, and just focus on scoring that goal. The objective doesn't change. The 5th and final thing that I'd recommend doing to try and keep your calm in this game is to save those games where you do lose and you feel like you got cheated, because once again, understanding why it happened is a huge sort of aid in it not bothering you in the future, because you know why. You need to get out of the habit of the game was against me, because even if you feel like it was, and that is a thing, there is so much that you can still change to have been way too far ahead for that to have even mattered. So focus on what you can change and improve on, which is your own gameplay. We don't want to focus on what the opponent did. We don't want to focus on those little scripting moments. Look at the game's back. Don't just focus on the little scripted thing that happened that decided the game. Look at the whole thing. Look at what you could have done to score more goals, to have been so far ahead that that little scripted thing wouldn't have even mattered. If you have made it this far in the video, guys, I think it's definitely fair to say my stance on this is just perspective, giving your opponent props, and not thinking of it as the game against you, but just coming to the terms that I'm probably playing a good player here, and if you do come out second best, trying to understand why. Because the better you are at the game, the less better players you can face, and therefore you're probably going to find yourself in those scenarios where it's going against you a lot less. So don't necessarily think about this as so much of a, how do I stop raging? Just really always try and take it as a, how can I get better? Because the better you are at the game, the less it's going to wind you up. And that's just the reality of it. If you did make it this far in the video though, guys, as always, I really appreciate your time. If you're going to take anything away from this video today, it is just always focus on what you could have done better, opposed to what did go against you. That is the bottom line of it. Thank you for sticking it to the end of the video, guys. I really appreciate your time. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and turn your bell on. Take care, guys.